Good evening from the East Coast of the United States of America. And welcome to another day, another reading reaction. For today's stream, I'm going to be finishing off Romeo and Juliet with Act 5. So far, what's happened in Romeo and Juliet is Juliet has basically tricked her family into thinking that she's dead. And we had these three in the last act, in Act 4, we had these three scenes. Scene 3, I think, was when Juliet had this long monologue. Soliloquy about what it is that she is sort of what's going through her mind as she's about to take this fake poison. It's gonna knock her out. And it's gonna make her. It's gonna make her look. It's gonna make her appear dead. But she goes through a very sort of dramatic experience right there. So that scene is a very quiet scene. If you imagine it. She's just on her bed, and she finally knocks herself out at the end. I think when she hears the nurse or something like that. Then in scene 4, leading up to this, we have the family, the Capulet and the Lady Capulet, I think, and the servants. They're all just bustling. So we actually have a pretty noisy scene. People are just being busy. I think they're like ordering food or something like that. So it's tonally very different. Right? When you're imagining actually watching this on the stage, or if you want to modernize it, like on the screen, right, on the big screen, you're kind of imagining a tonal shift from pretty serious to bustling, and then what happens is it goes to crazy. The dial goes all the way up to 11. It goes to crazy because the nurse discovers that Juliet has died, quote unquote. And she gets hysterical, the father gets hysterical, Lady Capulet gets hysterical. They're all sort of talking over each other. It's just very noisy. And then Paris comes in, and he's just like a little douchebag. And he's like, oh, woe is me, right? So he does that. And with Paris, and then like the musicians come in too. Okay? Now, up until this point in Act 4, it feels pretty much normal and nothing's too crazy. It's just that tonally we get these big shifts, okay? But then the weirdest part of Act 4 is the last moment where after the whole Capulet family leaves, the musicians remain. And when the musicians remain, all that happens is they're like about to put up their instruments and go, but then Peter, I think it was Peter, let me actually go double check. Yeah, Peter, who, and I looked this up again since our last stream, but Peter, who seems to be like a servant in the Capulet family, he starts asking the musicians, hey, please play me a light tune to cheer me up. I'm feeling so heavy right now. And then they're like, no. And he's like, well, I'll kill you. Or, no, he doesn't say that. I think he says, well, I will make some sort of lie about you and maybe make you lose your job or something like that. Okay. It's like an economic power play. Okay. He's like, I'm gonna kind of make you lose your job. It's kind of the implicit threat, I think. And then the musicians are like, I'm gonna kill you. And then they get into a fight. And all of this is just starting because Peter asked them to play a light tune, like a happy, uplifting song. Very weird. Very weird that you have this hysteria, right, of everyone just going, ah! And then the friar being like, oh, this is actually good news. And and then we shift suddenly to the musicians, and the musicians are like fighting with Peter. And at the very end, Peter kind of ends off with this. He ends the scene with this sort of mic drop moment where he just sort of like insults them to their face. Okay, as I understand, basically what he does, And just in case you're curious, the way I figured this out is by rereading it slowly. There were many words that I didn't know what they were, so I used No Fear Shakespeare and I used Merriam-Webster just to kind of figure out what these words would mean. Um, but I went through all of that, and what happens at the end with this mic drop, like sort of insult to their faces, is, "Hey guys, you musicians, uh, you guys aren't rich." Is basically what it seems like he says. You're always gonna be dependent on making money on other people, which is like this really mean joke. And then he leaves, and then everyone else kind of grumbles, and then the scene ends. But the other part of that joke is that he's referencing like this particular song or this particular lyric, where it says that the silver sounds of, you know what? In this case, I'll actually look it up because it's kind of awkward to memorize this, but that's it. Then music with her silver sound. Okay, so when griping grief, the heart doth wound. So when griping grief wound the heart, and doleful dumps oppress the mind, then music with her silver sound, with her silver sound, doth lend redress with speedy help. Okay, so lends a sort of remedy with speedy help, speedily. Okay, very readily lends a remedy. Okay, so music actually remedies the heart sickness of people. So this lyric has nothing to do with actually insulting musicians at all. It's about how music heals wounds for us, right? At the same time, he's sort of like making fun of these musicians, saying that they have no gold, and these musicians get very annoyed with him. What a weird scene! What a weird way to end the scene of Act Four, the final scene of Act Four. You have the dad and the mom and the nurse all being hysterical. You have Paris being kind of silly. Then you have the friar trying to calm everyone down because they're being so noisy and like overwhelming. And then you have this little thing about music. I won't even tell you what I think it means that it's here, but it's very conspicuous because the tone is so different. It's comical, it's silly, you know? And so Shakespeare must have put it in here for some reason. Now, I can make some guesses what might happen. Maybe at the very end of this, of this play, we're gonna have some music that comes out. Maybe. I don't remember if that actually happens. Okay. Another thing that might happen, another thing that might kind of imbue this with some meaning is maybe it's just we're just commenting on art as a whole, you know? And so Shakespeare is just making a point about how music soothes us as a whole. So it's not really about Romeo and Juliet per se. It's more of a commentary on art itself, and maybe on the fact that Shakespeare himself has to work, right, to earn his silver, to earn his money, and to try to soothe the hearts of his audience. It could be something like that, right? But right now, I don't know. Like, I don't really have any certainty this way or that. So that's just, I just thought it was worth commenting on before going into scene 5, because we had this Act 5, because at the very end of Act 5 we had this very quiet passage, and then this very sort of bustling passage, and then this suddenly hysterical passage, and then suddenly this comical passage. And I really thought it was that all those tonal shifts, man, that's just so. Act 4 was such a short act, but there were so many things happening right there. I just thought it'd be it was really cool that it ended in that kind of interesting way, and it was worth making a comment on. Okay, so that's Act 4. Now let's go into Act 5. In Act 5, I don't feel like I need to do any pre-reading to learn what happens at the end, because we kind of know. Romeo is going to see Juliet, and maybe he's going to get confused or something, and then he's going to kill himself, and then Juliet's going to see Romeo, and then she's going to kill herself, and then that's going to be the end, right? So, at the moment, though, Juliet is holding on to this hope that she can still see Romeo, okay, when she wakes up. She's a little nervous, but she has this hope that she's going to see Romeo, and then they're going to run away together, okay? The friar has been actually letting this all happen. His motivations are not exactly very clear, because his initial motivation was so that the Capulets and the Montagues could sort of reconcile. And an implicit motivation, right, is that as an older person, he's seeing this very intense, passionate love, and I think he finds it endearing. Now, that's just my interpretation, not 100% sure of that. Okay, so that's all happening. And so it's just these three people who really know the plot. Juliet has cut ties with her nurse. Okay, Romeo, like Benvolio hasn't come back. Okay, and Mercutio is dead. So they're sort of estranged. Okay, and it's really just about these two characters now. Yeah, that seems about right. So I'm looking forward. I'm excited to sort of see if I can feel the feelings. Okay, because I think Acts 3 and 4. I think my sort of emotional connection to the story was less than what it was for Acts 1 and 2. I just thought Acts 1 and 2 were really, really fun. I'm hoping with Act 5 I can find something to latch onto and really enjoy this thing, because this, honestly, Romeo and Juliet has been very fun overall. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this ends, even though I already know how the ending will come about. Okay, so let me set up and get going. Oh, okay, we're at Mantua. Okay, or Mantua, right? Mantua. I think I learned how to pronounce that last time. If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep. Okay, interesting, because Juliet is in a sleep right now, and we're doubting whether we can trust sleep itself. It's an interesting thing going on right there, just in that one line. Okay. My dreams. So he's having positive dreams, unlike Juliet, who is having very negative premonitions. Interesting how he dreams. He dreams that he's the one that's dead. Now, actually, at this point, I think it would be helpful to just briefly recap the actual plot. So let me get to the end of scene 1 here. Oops. Whoa, what the? Okay, hang on. Okay. See, the plot says that Juliet is going to be in bed, and she's going to appear dead, and she's going to wake up, and he and the friar will watch Juliet waking, and at that very night, Romeo will take Juliet over to Mantua. So that's the plot. What's very strange, and we get this little bit of foreshadowing, okay, because it creates a sense of foreboding. He's dreaming that he's the one who appears dead, okay? So Even if you don't know the ending, that kind of feels a little weird. He feels happy about his dream because imagines her kissing him and then him becoming revived. But this is actually the inverse of what's supposed to happen. Very interesting. And I feel like even if you didn't know the ending of this story, but you were really paying attention to it, like you'd feel a little uncomfortable here. This would feel uncomfortable. Her immortal part with angels lives, meaning she actually is kind of dead. She's like temporarily dead. It's a sort of magical potion. Oh, ill news. Huh. Is it even so? Then I defy you, stars. Okay. At the moment, Balthazar tells. I see. I see. So Balthazar believes that Juliet has died and is hired by Romeo to update Romeo on all the latest news. So this is circumventing the friar's plan. The friar was supposed to send the message directly. Okay, so actually, emotionally, I was not ready for this, but emotionally, this is an extremely um, Romeo has to carry a lot of the scene. The actor for Romeo has to carry this scene right now because he's going to be extremely desperate about this. Well, Juliet, I will lie with thee tonight. So there's a bit of double meaning there. Uh, let's see for means, O mischief, thou art swift to enter into the thoughts of desperate men. I do remember an apothecary. Actually, I want to double check I know how to pronounce apothecary. Apothecary is correct. Okay. He. This he must be the apothecary himself, right? Okay, yeah. When I think of apothecary, I tend to think of the pharmacy, the place itself, but okay, we're talking about the person. We're describing this apothecary, we're describing this medicine man, and it's not a very it's a very sort of sinister description. Okay, he's a he seems very witch-like. He's also not. He's also very poor. Okay, so if a man did need a poison now, and selling a poison is punishable by death. Okay, in Mantua, but who would actually sell a poison even though it's a crime that you can get killed that you can be executed for? Somebody, an apothecary that is also desperate, who is very poor. And now he's going to the apothecary. Or the apothecary comes. Or yeah, he went over. He went over. He went over to the apothecary's shop. I see that thou art poor. That's a very interesting first line to very strange to say that. Oh, there is 40 ducats. Ducats. Let me see the pronunciation. Ducats. Ah, interesting. I did not know that was pronunciation. Ducats. Here, there is 40 ducats. Let me have a dram of poison, such soon speeding gear as will disperse itself through all the veins, that the life-weary taker may fall dead, and that the trunk may be discharged with breath as violently as hasty power fired doth hurry from the fatal cannon's womb. He wants a very strong poison to kill him very fast. Now Romeo is not, I don't know if this is a very persuasive, very on the nose, Romeo. You are extremely poor, dude. The world is not your friend. Break the law and take this money. I don't will it, but my poverty does. I pay your poverty, not your will. Put this in any liquid thing, and you will, and drink it off. And if you had the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight. Gold is worse poison than these literal poisons because it makes people commit murder. Interesting little aside on society. I sell thee poison. You have sold me none. So the gold itself is the poison thing, not the actual poison. Huh. Come cordial and not poison. Go with me to Juliet's grave. Cordial is a type of drink, right? So apparently it's a nice kind of drink. Go with me to Juliet's grave. Honestly, I'm a little underwhelmed by the speeches here. It's kind of just whatever. Let's move on. Scene 2. Wait, hang on. Franciscan is it Friar? Is our Friar Friar? Oh no. Our Friar is Friar Lawrence. So Friar John was the one who was supposed to go to Romeo. I could not send a letter. I could not even get a messenger to bring it to you. They were so scared of infection. Oh, because of at that time there was a plague. There was a pestilence. There was a plague. Basically like a pandemic. Okay, and Friar John was actually quarantined because of another friar brother in the order. I see. So he couldn't even bring the letter over. Oh my God, the letter was not nice. It wasn't just a silly letter. It was full of charge of very heavy stuff, and the neglecting it's going to create a huge problem. Bring it unto my cell. Now must I go to the monument alone. Within 3 hours will fair Juliet wake. She will beshrew me much that Romeo hath had no notice of these accidents. But I will write again to Mantua and keep her at my cell till Romeo come. Okay, Friar Lawrence does not know that Romeo is on the way. That Romeo is about to kill himself next to Juliet. So we're in a race now. Now, if you like if you've watched like 1990s action movies, you'll see those. You'll see this classical scene, not classical, classic scene, where there's a ticking time bomb, and it goes from 10 minutes to 9 minutes to 5 minutes to 3 minutes to 2 minutes to 1 minute to 30 seconds to 22 seconds to 18 seconds to 15 seconds. It just, and it starts growing. It gets exponentially slower over time. Actually, is it logarithmically? I'm bad with math now, but it gets really slow. Okay, um, and 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 so the scene that we're imagining right now is Friar Lawrence has to beat the ticking time bomb. The ticking time bomb being Romeo himself. He's about to go to Juliet and he's about to kill himself. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. Let's keep going. Oh, I just zoned out. Guys, why did I zone out? Um, oh, I like these. Okay, I'm just feeling a little tired right now. Okay, let me just start with the setting. Here's the setting. We're in a churchyard, and the two. Okay, so we're gonna be where Juliet's body is, and Paris comes. Crazy. Another complication in this plan. Okay, he's being secretive. Digging up graves? What? Lay thee? What is this thee referring to? Is he talking to Juliet right now? Holding thine ear close to the hollow ground. No. Okay. He's giving commands. Lay you along the all along those beneath the all below those all along below those yew trees, and hold your ears close to the ground, so shall no foot upon the churchyard tread. Okay, so basically, be lookout. Okay, pay attention to when someone's coming, and give me the flowers. Okay, the page is nervous, but he goes. I strew with flowers your bridal bed. Oh, woe. Your canopy is dust and stones. So he must be talking to Juliet at this point. I don't know. Okay, there was no stage direction that mentioned this, but yeah, I will do this. I will dew with sweet water your canopy. I will moan. I will come to your grave and weep. I keep this as a promise. Oh, and the page whistles already. So Paris has a very short moment. So it's that's interesting. This is different from the Paris I've seen so far. This is Paris genuinely mourning Juliet. Huh. Like he actually kind of loved her. I never really got that sense until now. That feels a little awkward to me personally. Now, of course, he is a little annoyed that someone's already. Okay. Obsequies. 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 Obsequious. Obsequies. Okay. I did not know that this had to do with funeral rites, though. Obsequious and obsequies. I wonder why obsequious has the same has that other meaning of like, being overly attentive. Oh, you know what? It must be because you're. Huh. Hang on. What? Yeah, because when you are at a funeral, you're being very attentive to the person that's dead. So, obsequious means fawning over somebody as if you're at their funeral. It's kind of a weird, dark meaning. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so moving on. What cursed foot wanders to cross my obsequies? Okay, so he hides. And Romeo and Balthazar come. I wonder how Paris will respond. That's kind of crazy. This is not Tybalt. I actually don't remember Paris's relationship to Romeo. Did Paris think badly of Romeo? I don't think they even knew each other, right? Okay, so literally Romeo is giving Balthazar the same instruction. I descend into this bed of death to see my lady's face. A ring. I will kill you if you come back to pry and see what I do. I will tear you joint by joint, and I will scatter your limbs across this churchyard. Balthazar like, okay, that's enough. I got it. Chill out. So he live and be prosperous. So he's giving Balthazar a lot of money. So Balthazar is very nervous, and he lied to Romeo. He's going to pay attention. Thou detestable maw, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth, thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I'll cram thee with more food. Wow. I actually still remember these lines to some extent. I mean, not very well, but I remember. I think when I was in ninth grade when I read this, this was the first time that I learned the word. This might have been the first time I learned the word maw. Thou detestable maw, you womb of death. You've already gouged. You have already gorged yourself, not gouged. Gorged yourself with the dearest thing in this earth. Now I tell you to open. Here I am. Here I am. Paris thinks, wow, very funny here. Paris thinks that Romeo, the Montague, because Romeo killed Tybalt and Tybalt died, Juliet died from grief over Tybalt. So in Paris's mind, it's actually Romeo's fault that Juliet's dead. And in Paris's mind, he's going to do some villainous shame to the dead bodies. He's going to come and defile the bodies. That's what Paris is thinking. Oh my God. So, from Paris's perspective, he'd be extremely upset. I mean, come on. You would, if you think that your future wife the body of your future wife is about to be defiled by the person who killed another Tybalt. Sorry, another Capulet. Man, that would be, you would definitely want to kill this guy. I must die indeed, and that's why I came. Do not tempt a desperate man. Don't make me kill you and add another sin. I love you more than I love myself, because I am here to kill myself. You are a felon. And then they fight. And Paris dies. So that scene's going to be a little longer, right? So the fight itself, the page is going to see this. Balthazar is going to see this too. If thou be merciful, open the tomb, lay me with Juliet. So Romeo didn't even know it was Paris until now. Oh, give me thy hand, one written in sour misfortune's book alongside me. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave. A grave? Oh no, a lantern slaughtered youth. For here lies Juliet, and her beauty makes this vault a feasting presence full of light. Death, lie thou there by a dead man interred. Buried by a dead man. Wow. So Romeo, the emotional tenor is, I would, the way I imagine it, he's like weeping. And he's gonna be barely articulate because this is so intense. He just killed somebody when all he wanted to do was lie there and die with Juliet. Okay? And now he killed Paris. And Romeo is loving in the sense of he's actually trying to, he's trying to be generous, he's trying to be gracious. He fought Paris because he felt he had no choice, and now he's actually bringing Paris his last wish. He's letting Paris come into the tomb beside Juliet. For me, I hear like a desperate crying here. How oft have they been merry, a lightning before death? Oh, my love, my wife, death that had sucked the honey of thy breath hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. You are just as beautiful as I remember. You are not conquered. The sign of your beauty is still crimson in your lips, your cheeks. You're not pale yet. Now, this is crazy. I see Romeo right now in a sort of madness, okay? I see him in a drunk, sad madness, desperation. And he's seeing Juliet, and Juliet doesn't seem pale. Crazy dramatic irony right now, because as the audience, we know what's happening. She's waking up. It's fucking crazy. The time bomb is ticking. Romeo is about to kill himself. But we know that she's waking up. The color is coming back to her. There's two ways to beat this bomb. Julia can wake up, or Friar Lawrence can land here. Tybalt. Now he sees Tybalt. He just killed Paris. He brought Paris in. He looked at. He's noticing Juliet, her beauty. She still seems even almost alive. And Tybalt. Now he sees Tybalt. Oh, what more favor can I do to thee than with that hand that cut thy youth in twain to sunder his that was thine enemy? Okay. So basically, what can I do that would be a greater favor to you? This is the biggest repayment that I can give to you. I will kill the person who killed you. Basically, I will kill myself with my own hand. Oh, Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous? He is full of love, and that the lean, abhorred monster keeps you in this dark to be his lover? Is death leaving you to be still so beautiful because he wants to be your lover? I still will stay with thee. For fear that I will not let death be your lover. I will be with you. I will never depart from here, this tomb again. Eyes, look your last. Oh, dude. Damn. I was not expecting that. Crazy. You know what it is? It's because I remember Act 2. It's because I remember Romeo and Juliet's their language. Okay. And the sort of exuberant, like completely enthralled, like joy, right, that they felt in Act 2. I remembered that at this very moment. Okay. Because here we're having Romeo being poetic again. And it just reminded me of that feeling. Of that feeling from Act 2. Eyes, look your last. He's looking at her and he's telling himself, this is your last time to get to look at her. Arms, take your last embrace, and lips, O you, the doors of breath, seal with the righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct, come, unsavory guide. This kiss is the final bargain, the final deal with death. Come, death, thou desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks by thy seasick, weary bark. I wonder who he's actually referring to. Who is that talking to? Is that talking to Death himself? Death, the desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks. Like this death is like, I think it's Death he's talking to. This death has run aground on the rocks with its seasick, weary bark. It's shattering. It's becoming, and like this ship is going to shatter. Shatter is maybe not the right word. I don't know what the word for ships falling apart would be, but it's shattering upon these rocks. It's being destroyed on these rocks. It's interesting to say that, or unless he's talking to himself, which I think makes a little more sense. I don't fully understand that metaphor. Now he drinks. Oh, true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus with a kiss I die. And dude, I can hear I can hear the audience. the maybe even some people crying. I can hear the audience, man. This is insane. And then Friar Lawrence comes. Balthazar, it doth, holy sir, and there's my master, one that you love, Romeo, for a full half an hour. Balthazar says, he threatened me with death. I'll go alone. I fear some ill unlucky thing. Romeo. Alack, alack, what blood is this? What stains the stony entrance of this sepulchre? What mean these masterless and gory swords to lie discolored by this place of peace? So right now he hasn't the friar hasn't seen Romeo and Juliet yet, or Paris. He's only seen the blood and the swords. He enters. Romeo, oh pale, who else? What, Paris too? And steeped in blood. Oh, what an unkind hour is guilty of this lamentable chance. The lady stirs. And she wakes up at the same time. Where is my Romeo? Dude. And I mean, at least the way I imagined this acted out, she's still she's in a daze. There's some noise. A greater power, a power that is greater than the power that we can actually contradict, the power that we can actually fight against, a power that we are powerless against, has thwarted our intents. Come away. Thy husband in thy bosom. The husband of your heart is dead, and so is the husband of the paper. Okay, I'm gonna bring you to the nuns. I dare no longer stay. Go, get thee hence, for I will not away. The Friar Lawrence is frantic right now. He's seeing the craziness, and he's like, "We have to leave." He can't really bear this feeling, this imagining what he kind of brought to fruition. He only had good intentions, but now it's such a tragedy. Oh, what a crazy! I remember this. I remember this scene. I just jumped down. I jumped down to the "Thy lips are warm." God, what a crazy scene! It's just insane. There's so much emotional power in these scenes, dude. And they like, I wonder what it was like before Romeo and Juliet was ever written. Was there ever in English a work of art that conveyed such desperate youthful passion? What's here? A cup closed in my true love's hand? Poison I see hath been his timeless end. O churl, drunk all, and left no friendly drop to help me after? I will kiss thy lips. Haply some poison yet doth hang on them, to make die with the restorative. So he drank all of the poison. It's like, and she calls him a churl, like, you selfish bastard, I can't believe you took it all. You should have left some for me. I will kiss your lips. So she's gonna suck the poison out of his lips. Thy lips are warm. That's such a crazy line. Lead, boy, which way? Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger. So she takes the dagger and she stabs herself. This is thy sheath. There rust and let me die. Whoa, dude. Okay. Whoa. So I forget that she kills herself with a dagger. I forgot that, which is because I have terrible memory. Like I have the world's worst memory. Wow, but and like I don't know how to. Okay, I'm just gonna try articulating this. Okay, so the dagger as a phallic symbol, as a symbol of sex. I don't think it's a crazy reading. I don't think it's a bullshit reading to read this here. Especially because in Act 4 we had the father say that, "Oh death, you deflowered my daughter," something like that. He said that specifically. Okay, so in Capulet's eyes, okay, his virgin daughter was taken away, and her virginity was taken away by death. Okay, death killed Juliet. This is a recurrence of the exact same theme. Death is now actually taking Juliet in the form of a dagger. And the sheath, there rust and let me die. Like, she's sticking it in herself and she's leaving it there to die. And I think Act 3, all of Act 3, like a big part of Act 3 was about Romeo and Juliet consummating their marriage, right? So they get to consummate it twice. They get to consummate their marriage by the friar, and now they are consummating their marriage through death. That structural parallel is honestly, it's like, I feel like the word cool is sort of kills the vibe of this scene, but it's like really cool, first of all. But also, it gave me some chills. I mean, it gave me chills to see Juliet with this dagger inside her, dying on top of Romeo, consummating their second marriage, something like that. It's crazy, crazy, crazy scene. Thy lips are warm, crazy scene, and then oh happy dagger. The word sheath also I feel like has a lot of sexual connotations, so I do think that my reading is supported by the text. Okay, here we go. This is the place, there where the torch doth burn. So the page is a little crazy at this point. The first watchman. Search about. Go, some of you, wherever you find attach. Here lies the county slain, and Juliet bleeding, warm and newly dead. He who here hath lain these 2 days buried. They're getting the Capulet and the Montagues. Balthazar comes. Here's Romeo's man. And the prince is going to come. The prince is like, why do I have to wake up this early? What is going on? People are crying out in the streets. The news has already spread. People are crying for Romeo and Juliet in Paris. What fear is this which startles in our ears? Oh, the friar was brought in. Okay. Capulet is like, look how our daughter bleeds. This dagger, which should have been stuck in the back of Romeo, is now incorrectly placed in my daughter's bosom. Oh me, this side of death. This looking at this death makes me feel like my own death is about to come. My wife is dead tonight. What further woe conspire? It's a little much. It's a lot of death going on, but Montague's wife has also died from grief. Oh, thou untaught, you rude, like you're being rude, boy. And the prince is like, shut up for a second. Shut up until the situation gets cleared up. And then will I be general of your woes and lead you even to death. It's an interesting metaphor. Be patient for a second. And here I stand both to impeach myself and purge myself, to condemn myself and excuse myself. Now the friar is about to tell everyone the story of what really happened. It would be interesting if the friar stuck a lie in between, just like Benvolio. Okay, that would be very interesting. Let's see if that happens, because Benvolio stuck a little lie in between the last time that this happened. Juliet was pining for Romeo, not for Tybalt. Now he's talking to Capulet, Lord Capulet, to remove that siege of grief from her, married her to Paris, and she came to me with wild looks to free her from this second marriage. Or she threatened to kill herself. And that's true so far. She did threaten to kill herself. So I gave her a sleeping potion to make it look like she was dead. And then I wrote to Romeo that he should come to take her from the grave. But the letter was stayed. It didn't get sent. And I came here to watch over until I could send another message to Romeo. But when I came, just minutes before, Paris and Romeo were dead. She wakes, so she woke up. So I told her, come out. Bear this work of heaven with patience. Accept God's will. And then there was a noise, and so I left, and she would not go with me. He hasn't lied so far. It seems, instead of coming with me, she killed herself. This is all true to what I know. Also, the marriage, her nurse knows this as well. If anything in this has been miscarried, it has been is my fault. If anything in this is my fault, sacrifice me unto the rigor of severest law. I accept my punishment. And then Balthazar speaks. I brought my master news of Juliet's death, and then in a post he came from Mantua, and threatened me with death. Be going into the vault, I departed not and left him there. And then he has his letter, and the prince is like, give me this letter, the letter from Montague. Where's the county's page? He came with flowers to strew his lady's grave, and bid me stand aloof, so I did. Anon comes one with light to ope the tomb, and by my master drew on him. And so I ran to call the watch. This letter doth make good the friar's words, their course of love, the tidings of her death. Where be these enemies? Capulet, Montague. Interesting bit of outrage right there. Very powerful, I think. See what a scourge is laid upon your hate, that heaven hath found means to kill your joys with love. And I, for winking at your discords, to have lost the brace of kinsmen, all are punished. Oh, brother Montague, give me thy hand. Oh, it's like a weirdly happy ending suddenly. But I can give thee more, for I will raise her statue in pure gold, that while Verona by that name is known, there shall no figure as such rate be set as that of true and faithful Juliet. Show Romeo was by his lady's lie. Poor sacrifices of our enmity. A gloomy peace this morning with it brings. The sun for sorrow will not show his head. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned and some punished, for never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. Okay, so the resolution is just resolving things. People find out the truth, and they sort of make up, and they decide to be good to each other again. I wonder in Elizabethan theater whether you kind of had to have a good happy ending, but I don't think that's true of all of Shakespeare's work, right? So I wonder what's up with this happy ending. It's kind of a little strange. It kind of feels weird to bookend it that way, but maybe it's just that really intense emotional experience of Julia killing herself. You just want to pad it at the end so that people can sort of chill out a little bit before closing the play. Something like that. I don't know. I won't say I was very interested in the last bit. Kind of wish the prince was more angry, and I kind of wish the Montague and Capulet didn't just sort of neatly. They weren't so neatly. Reconciled, you know. I wish it took a little longer or something like that, but that said, let me focus on the parts that I really did like. Okay. Act five, was that scene three or something? It goes until scene three. It feels like, from what I remember, yeah, it goes until scene three. Scene three was so. It was so nice to just read that again and feel those feelings. God, like when I was in high school, I don't think I felt a single feeling. Um, it was nice to read that and remember those words that were said and feel those feelings, like because I could imagine the play, and I could imagine the feelings, and I could imagine the desperation, and I can imagine the lamenting by Juliet, and it was just so rich. It was so intense. And also structurally, the sort of double consummation. I bet I must not be the only person that thought of this. Okay, this is not the kind of thing that I would expect to come out of Spark Notes. I don't think Spark Notes would say something like that. But having the first consummation in Act 3 and then having the second consummation of death in Act 5 with that sheath, that let me die sheath, and as she stabs herself, it's just this, it's kind of like weirdly beautiful and painful and poignant. It's, yeah. And then her trying to like kiss Romeo for the poison, and then I could just imagine her all. It was so crazy. Dude, it was so much. It was so much going on. So that's what I have for today. I wonder if I should do a follow up like exercise on Romeo and Juliet, on the whole book, on the whole work, just because it might be interesting to do something like I did with Khan Academy and the SAT, to just like go through Spark Notes and give my own commentary on what I think about Romeo and Juliet. That said, Romeo and Juliet is not the video that most people are watching from my channel, so feel a little iffy about doing that. If you do want more content on Romeo and Juliet specifically, please let me know. And if you like this kind of stuff, I'm gonna be trying to read at least twice a week, and I want to ideally be reading like every day of the week, but my schedule is so crazy. I do so many different things right now that I'm not fully committing to just doing YouTube streaming every day. But that could all change depending on how you guys respond to me. If I know that there are people out there who really enjoy these readings and who want more of it, or maybe even want to give me feedback on specifically what parts of it they do like, I can sort of adapt what I'm doing to you, because I want to know. I mean, this is very different from like streaming online is very different from like my offline classes where I know immediately whether something was successful or not. Streaming is sort of impersonal in the sense that I can't really know what you guys are thinking or seeing or reacting. So yeah, if you guys could hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, just let me know what you're thinking. Just any of that really makes me more sure of what I'm doing. So let me know what you guys think, and if you guys want more Romeo and Juliet content, just throw a vote in there. All right, guys, have a good day wherever you are, and good luck. Good luck with your readings, your learning, your growing. Peace out, guys.